A sniper is only a coward, not a hero. And an uncontrolled or uncontrollable mob is only the voice of madness, not the voice of the people. Among free men, said Abraham Lincoln, there can be no successful appeal from the ballot to the bullet.
Two men, Robert Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. Two men who wanted to do more for society, who were felled by an assassin's bullet. Americans wept for the loss of these people. They mourned. Now are the candles being lit for villains? Take a look. Luigi Mangione is portrayed here as a saint. He is the alleged murderer of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare. 41% of young voters say that killing was acceptable. When did we raise the status of a villain to the status of a saint? If not corrected, what peril does this present to a country which honors the rule of law? Is it too late to inspire people to do something bigger than themselves for the well-being of their community, their humanity, or the future? Have we become a society who praises the anti-hero more than the hero? What has caused the rise of the anti-hero? Was it motivated by the media? Has it become good to be bad? Time to meet our panel. He's a former mafia associate.
Officially on the 22nd of June, but we've had a lot of screenings, and the response in the screenings has been amazing. I can't tell you how many people have said, I wish I saw this movie 20 years ago. I would have saved myself a lot of trouble. I would have gone back into church. I would have started reading the Bible. Said, but no one told me to do that. I didn't even understand that I needed to read the Bible. So it's been kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people. And my husband's transformation experience, he had a vision of the Lord and the voice of God and everything in the soccer field. And I was a college cheerleader, and he was a hippie, and we found Christ together. And it's basically our story, but it's his specifically because he makes this big transformation from being the hippie. He was at Woodstock. He was in the mudslide at Woodstock naked. So talk about a transformation. He did it. I was exactly the opposite. I was, little Miss Goody
I
Two Shoes.
remember those days.
So a lot of people identified with either my character or his character. A lot of the other characters are in there because it's a search. It's a journey to find truth. And I think that's what people are really, really looking for. They're looking for the truth. And you've got it on the movie, they want it.
So that's all the truth we have left for both of you. I want to thank you, Robert Borelli, so much for coming on, and you, Nina May. I really appreciated the discussion today. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to continue with our discussion with Christian Toto from Hollywood in Toto. This is a director and a good friend of the show. I want to begin with what we just heard from that gentleman, one of these Free Luigi protests. Luigi Mangione is accused of murdering Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. 40% of people in my generation say that. I want to begin with you. What does it mean when society begins to see people like him as a hero?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at another analogy that's happening in the country today, we have the issue of abortion. And so if you take what that man just said about all the people that die because of the healthcare industry and everything, one every 1.5 minutes or something, on and on, you look at the abortion rate, and it's far worse than that, far worse. And yet they don't think that they should be out there picketing or rioting or whatever on behalf of the unborn child, because there is a child that is being killed that often. Or the abortionists, the people that are committing these crimes, that would be the equivalency of the man that was shot in the back, as the abortion providers. So I remember the times in the Sandinista discussion and everything like that, the phrase going out was, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. And that seemed to sort of be something that resonated in society. And people kind of pick sides, and they say, well, how do you define what a terrorist is and what a freedom fighter is? And it's usually boiled down to, that's my cause, he's my champion, he's fighting my fight for me, so therefore he is the freedom fighter, as opposed to the other side that says the same thing, even though they might be a terrorist. So it seems as though this was spun up years ago, and it's getting out of hand. I mean, even think about George Floyd. That was his name, right? George Floyd.
Yes.
They made a hero of him, yet he was a drug addict. He was a wife beater or a girlfriend beater, whatever. He was not a really good guy. Yet they made him into a hero. I mean, they had giant posters painted of him. They had the Black Lives Matter painted downtown in Washington, D.C. And if you dared say anything about it, just say all lives matter. Oh my gosh, all hell would break loose. So it seems as though there's been sort of a redefining of the culture on a lot of different levels. And
I want to go to Robert on that point there. You spent some time in Rikers. You were doing some bad things in your past. You know what it's like to be cheered on for doing the wrong thing. But what does it take for someone like him to have a conversion experience himself? I mean, he's being lauded right now by the public. We have the candle of him as a saint, like a votive candle, and people are saying, free him. What does it take to turn someone like that around?
Well, just to make it clear, I never got rewarded like that for the stuff that I did, that's for sure. I mean, we did in our own little concept of the lifestyle that we lived. If you're going away, it was part of, the career that you picked, and they throw a party for you, something like that. But it wasn't on an unstage thing where there was cameras, lights, and all that. So it was a little bit different for me going to that kind of thing. So for me, the devastation for me that changed my life, of course, became a born-again Christian. And when I felt that nobody else loved me, I was reading how much God loved me. That attracted me a lot more to Jesus than people that I used to be associated with. But,
so what would you say to someone like him? What would you say to Luigi to turn his life around from your experience?
And nothing is beyond the reach of God. Not him, not anybody else. For what he did or anything like that. I think the first thing he has to do is understand that what he did was not the right thing to do, regardless of how many people are applauding him. I mean, just look at it. What he accomplished. Did anything change in the medical? Now, I don't know, as General that was speaking, if all that is true or not, because I'm not really in tune with all that stuff, with the medical stuff. But I just think that we come into a place in society where the underdog is getting more fame than people like the one that he killed. I mean, it's just really sad for me to see someone take some vigilante. That's what you would call that, like a vigilante act, that you think you're doing it for people. But what did he accomplish by killing the guy? I mean, did interest rates go lower? Did anything change in the reason why he did it? I don't think anything changed. I'm not sure if it did or anything, but I just.
Do you think something like this could encourage copycats? If not change, maybe it makes things worse.
It's been happening for the longest time. We've been seeing that. You put these guys on pedestals, and people are. Listen, I understand what it is to be starving for attention. I grew up starving for attention. And you have a lot of kids out there that they don't know where they are, where they belong, and they're starving for attention. And unfortunately, because of the society and the culture that we're living in, both parents most likely have to work, and the kids aren't getting a lot of attention from their families, other than maybe they might see them play ball or something like that. Kids are starving for a lot more than that. Now, if they get the attention of the whole world to watch them, they might just follow.
They'll do something crazy like that. And Nina, I want to bring you in here because Robert had a good point. He was mentioning vigilante justice. And on the screen, we just flashed the image of a poster for a musical production, which is going to take place in San Francisco, honoring Luigi. There's going to be a play, and Luigi Mangione and a few other people who are in jail with him right now are going to be singing and dancing, portrayed by actors. Do you think this form of vigilante justice that people are celebrating, what does it say about where we are in the country right now in our culture?
Well, I do think, and you asked the question, is this going to encourage other people to be sort of copycat killers? And it obviously will. I mean, this man is probably getting more attention than he's ever had in his entire life. He's a hero. Women are saying they want to marry him. They want to have sex with him, whatever. Someone that is a loser I'm not calling him a loser, but someone that shoots someone in the back has got to be a loser. And so here he is. He's probably had no one validating him through his whole life, and now this is the way he's being validated, and it's got to twist him. I mean, hopefully, justice will be served, but there are a lot of other people out there just like this that are twisted, that they don't even know what they believe. I mean, and again, if you try and tell them about Christ, they don't want to have anything to do with it. But we do have to have a heart for people that are going through things like this, so that hopefully we can reach them before they do something devastating like this. And you use that as an example, Christ. You had Christ on the cross, saved man from all of his sins. I mean, he was the true hero. But who did the people choose? They chose Barabbas. Barabbas was an outlaw. He was a murderer. He was one of these guys that are, going on college campuses and rioting and stuff. He was that very same person. Yet he became their hero, the anti-hero. And it's such a perfect example of what we're seeing now. And I agree with Robert that it's a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual issue. And we as believers need to give people an option.
I want to give you both a chance. You could probably give me a yes and no for this one. Do you think if Luigi Mangione was maybe overweight, he had a stomach hanging over his belt, he was not visually attractive, do you think he would be getting the same form of love that he's getting right now from all these fans?
I don't know. I mean, you look at some of these people that are doing things like this, and you've seen them, and you're thinking, whoa, that's interesting. The ones with crazy hair and the this and the that. They're not. I don't think it's an attraction because he's. To be honest, I don't think he's that good looking.
Robert, what do you think?
Sorry, I would not cast him in one of my movies. Let me just say that. So, I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
I think it might be a little bit different, but I think he would still get a lot of attention. I look at some. What I see, it really hurts me the most is it just seems like bad news is more popular than good news.
We got some good news coming. We're gonna take a break right now. We're gonna take a break. We can continue with that. When we return, we're gonna talk about the Anti-Hero once more on NTD's International Roundtable. Stay tuned. Be drawn into that kind of life as a result of these films. What do you feel about that?
Well, let me just say that's what drew me into a lot of that, because back when I was a kid, that's what you had. Almost all gangster movies being played out. You had Edward G. Robinson, you had Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney, all these gangster movies. And a lot of some of those movies were from my neighborhood, the people that lived in my neighborhood. And that attracted me to that lifestyle, to be honest with you, in a way. But to answer your question is, that's basically how I look at it today. I don't believe in that life anymore. But at one point in time, I was part of all that, to be honest with you.
Nina, what is your reaction? You make very good Christian films. When you see films like this, are they your competitors? Are you making your films to kind of draw people away from that? What do you make of films like this?
Well, it's interesting. As I was watching it, it's almost as though Vito Corleone, right? That he was channeling Trump in a way, because it was like I was seeing Trump do exactly the same thing with the nations, with individuals, with people. Like, hey, I'll do something for you. It's the art of the deal. He was doing the art of the deal. So I didn't see the evil in it that you're talking about. I just saw a man negotiating the power that he has. Now, go back to the first clip you had where the man was describing what had happened to his daughter and how horrible that was. And he was playing on the emotions, obviously, of the Godfather. And you think, okay, that's very similar to war. I mean, why did we, for example, get involved with World War II? Because we were understanding and seeing what was happening to innocent people. The Jews were being rounded up in concentration camp. They were being murdered. There was a genocide. So were we correct and right in joining that battle to try and deliver them from this evil? Or are we evil by joining in and taking up arms against other people? So it's kind of a big picture out there. And I think that the bottom line is, what's the motivation? The motivation for that man was to get justice for his daughter. I don't think anyone would say, yeah, that's evil, that's horrible, I can't believe you kissed the ring of the Godfather. I would say, that's who it takes to get this done, let's do it. And again, that's kind of what people are saying about Trump. They're going,
Why do we need a
nobody's doing
judicial
it.
system then? We could just go to the local strongman from the neighborhood to shake
Well,
down your enemies.
you know what? They guess who the local strongman is? It's our government. It's our federal government. Everything
Robert,
about
what
it.
do you think of that?
Well, the thing is, what they're not showing you in that is how that guy got justice. What was done to the people that hurt his daughter, or what's being done. In other words, there's a threat being done to somebody to stop that from going on. So that's the evil part of it. What they're not showing you that on TV, but that's the evil part of it. If you want the justice from the mob, you're going to get it, but it was going to be somebody's going to cost somebody something.
Yeah.
And it
Now,
wasn't
They're
going to be
taking
nice.
evil streets too. I mean, they're taking the evil off the streets. So there are a lot of other people that benefited from it. And I have a feeling that if there's a woman that's about to be raped by these guys, and suddenly the Godfather's people come up, she's not going to go, oh wait, no, you're not the police. This isn't right that you do this, that you saved me. So thank you though for the thought. No, they're going to say, get this trash off the street because it's going to be hurting more people.
Who's
So,
the
and I don't
role for the
think
mafia? You advocated
justice.
for, their return, their resurgence?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, am I advocating for it? I think there's a little mafia in every person. You know, we're very tribal. I mean, you've got your communities, you've got your
Robert
towns, your
agrees with
villages, states. I mean, we're all, I mean, if we as a community see someone coming into our community that's hurting people that we know and love, yeah, we're going to maybe take, first thing you take into your own hands, you lock your doors. Okay, that's your first defense system. That's legal to do that, right? Second, you own a gun. Legal to do that. Third, if someone attacks you and you have to shoot them to protect yourself and your family, it's legal to do that. So you take it step by step by step, and you can't call that evil because you're fighting evil. You have to understand that it's good versus evil.
Well,
Because
speaking
it's
of
your
good
way
versus
of
evil, we'll take a break here. When we return, we're going to talk about redemption. This is NTD's International